Alright, this is how I like to warm up before games and before getting on. I like the just the longest duration right here. And then the target types, it really does not matter though. I either like the big ball or the dummy. Target health doesn't matter. It's pretty personal preference. I do like the maximum targets 4 though, and then at the idle move speed. That's not. And I also like to practice with both. I only usually use just magnified B or magnified A and then hollow A. Maybe some other variations, but I just like to practice with the ACOG and then the hollow sides themselves.
Bandit and Thunderbird was requested
And what I also do find very beneficial is just to practice tracking itself. Builds muscle memory. Different distances helps as well, but it just builds muscle memory. I like to do this for a majority of games that I do get into. Tournaments, ranked, and so on. And then just to practice recoil. Like I said, I am new to keyboard and mouse, so it just builds muscle memory within itself.
Merrick is in the workshop for equipment evaluation.
Or even strafing back and forth, trying to practice recoil. That is just what my routine kind of consists of. Anyway, it doesn't have to be exact, it's just what I find what helps for me. And what I also like to do is either or kind of. I like to play clear house, and I like to do a deathmatch. I do find a deathmatch a little more entertaining, but it does feel like it's more like a Call of Duty match more than actually warming up. It does warm up aim, but any of those other aspects like positioning and decision making, it doesn't help because and then a lot of the time there's just people spawning behind you, spawning on top of you. Obviously, depending on the map itself that you do land on, but it's just what I think though.
A quick 2.
I do not know why I've been having some issues. It's something that's been apparent, and maybe it's just for me, but and like that's what I was talking about. Just situations that are not going to happen, and it's just a legit match essentially. Just a guy sitting with just Legion Shoddy. It's just not going to happen. And another thing I do like though is using, like I said, oops, sorry, practicing with both optics just gets it becomes easier for defense and attack or different just
You have 5 minutes.
scenarios that you might get into because with a one-time scope it is obvious. Shots might be a little
5
harder
consecutive
to
eliminations.
just to hit essentially, and it's not as easy with an ACOG or a 5. Practice with different operators. I do like this as an opportunity to get more comfortable with operators that you might not perform as well. Maybe you're not comfortable playing either. Like in my case, Twitch is not on console. It was an operator that I could use. Sorry, F2 was the one that I could use.
Your You're
on my
ahead of
own.
the enemy.
But on PC, the recoil is just 10 times harder. I'm assuming that anyone who's ever played PC would know this, though. It's pretty obvious. But like I said, though, the gun is just very difficult to use. And any new player, I'm not as new. I played on console for about almost 2 years, a year and a half about. So, but yeah, just any gun that you're
Hostiles
just not
have the lead.
willing to use. Maybe you used an operator, get to know and play them for sure. Anybody who plays serious, I do recommend. It kind of just depends on what PC you do have, but I do recommend playing on lower graphical settings because it will lower the effort your computer needs to work, granting you an FPS boost.
Hostiles are halfway to objective.
And then as well as, what is it? Aspect ratio too. There's 4:3. I play on that. I mess around with it though. 4:3 is one of the most popular ones. 16:10 is another really popular one. 16:9 is what console plays on. And 4:3, imagine, is just a very stretched resolution. And then 16:10 is more in the middle itself. It's more of a middle ground between 16:9 and then 4:3. But with 4:3, there is going to be people are going to look like they're running a lot faster on 4:3, rather than 16:10 and so on. So if you do find difficulty tracking on 4:3, then 16:10 is always just as good of an aspect ratio to play on as well. I do just prefer 4:3 because
2 minutes remaining.
of the positive that hollow sights do look bigger. And are usually just feel a bit easier to hit shots with. And then one of the last things I do enjoy doing since they've added it, I think it was last season or the season after, is this clear house. This all doesn't matter. I do prefer to play on ranked maps. Maybe maps you're not as comfortable with or as confident on, like for me, Cafe. Pick any operator, doesn't really matter. And will essentially place enemies on a specific floor and specific areas of the map, and it'll place them where people are most common to stand out. And that's why I do prefer it over free for all, because they do shoot back at you. Yeah, it's not the best aim always, and they're not real players, but it kind of simulates where real people will stand and roam and so on and so forth. And as for sensitivity, I play on a couple. I will play on a 0.001. 0.001. And you could always play around with different maps, different operators, different settings, and so on. But this is just what I like to do. It feels like what warms me up the most before ranked matches and so on. But the key to having the most consistency is playing with people I feel like you do resonate with, maybe friends or other competitive people you might meet online, or in a Discord server and so on as well, any communities. Currently, I am playing on 800 DPI on default multiplier with 6.6 horizontal and vertical sensitivity, and then a 37 one times and a 61 ACOG, sorry, 2.5. And another sensitivity, it is a bit slower, but which I do like, is 5252 on a 0.001 multiplier. So, and it's the same, I think it's the same as playing on a 1111 400 DPI on default multiplying. That is essentially all that I do for just to warm up. If there's anything that I may do or can do to increase growth, I haven't been posting for the longest time, but I am trying to post more commentary videos because I do feel like it is a bit more entertaining to just to watch, because nobody wants to watch this bleak gameplay, etc. But yeah, if there's anything else I could do, does this. Well, thank you. Later.